child of a lovely parent, and well, some call me a mental health advocate, and some call me a lawyer. But I'm Zhane Chungu.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like that introduction. So, going into that, I would like to know what inspired you to identify as a feminist.
Well, I might say I'm amongst the strong feminists, the really, really strong ones. You see, when you identify your strength in a space where you have nobody but yourself, you know, when you go through things that force you to identify who you are supposed to be, is when you really get to realization of what you can do as a woman and what you cannot do as a woman. But we live in a world where women can do everything.
Yeah.
And when I realized that I was that woman, I got to a space where I was ready to be a sister, I was ready to be a best friend, and I was ready to be a mother. Because before that, I used to do both, especially when it came to my child. I used to be a dad and I used to be a mom at the same time. But now I'm just a mom. You know, I'm okay with just being a mom, and I'm okay just being a sister, and I'm okay being a friend. So after I had my child, the whole postpartum pressure, depression, when it got to me, and having to go through the hardship of the healing, I found the little girl in me, and I allowed her to grow. I allowed her to grow to the woman that she is today. And I think really it's the hardship that one has to go through for them to become what they are today. And for me, I would like to go into details, but it would take us hours and hours.
Yeah.
And hours. Yeah. Was that correct? Was that a correct answer?
No,
Or maybe
I
needed
think
to go further?
no. Everyone's answer is different because as much as we're all women, we all go through different things. So I can't really say that there's one correct answer. But so far, yes, we're getting to know you bit by bit. What I always say to my guests is that this is just the first time we're meeting. This is our first conversation. There will come a time when I'll call you back again to have now a more in-depth where we really get to know who you are, the nitty-gritty stuff. Yeah, so this one is just an introduction, really, just to get to know who you are on the surface level so far. So from what you have told me, I would like to know now the biggest challenges that you think Zambian women and girls face in general in Zambia.
Well, I think the greatest enemy of Zambian young women and just women in general right now is their mental health. You know, we are facing, as women, I'm going to actually include myself in that cycle. We are facing a lot of mental challenges, and these mental challenges can actually be divided in several categories. And these are like financial support. There is less support that is coming towards young women and women in general. This is why we have a huge number of prostitution. And now I actually learned that there's what they're calling prostitution romance.
Oh, yes, there is.
It's an online thing. It's an online thing. Some people might know it as hookups. So that comes around due to lack of financial support, and you find that a lot of away from that, um, there's less employment for women, especially those that are just coming fresh from high school and those that are just coming fresh from colleges and universities. There's no jobs really. So you find that a lot of women, if you ask them what their problem is, there's no money. They want money. Okay. Away from that, I feel like another challenge that women have right now in Zambia is, which is in minimal cases, yeah, like mental health, they say, but then it's a postpartum, okay, postpartum depression. Now it's chronic. Like right now, it's really, really chronic. We have a lot of single mothers around. There are so many, and a lot of them are so bitter to a point where they're failing to keep up with reality. They're failing to keep up with what they can do better. So we find that a lot of them are in these really bad mental states. Mainly, I feel Zambian women right now are mainly dealing with mental issues. It can be broken down in so many categories. We can go on and on and on. But the moment we tackle how women can be mentally sane, is when we can really know what each individual is really going through mentally. I think right now we can stand on mental health.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying because everything stems from what is going on in your mind. So if your mind is not okay,
Yes.
then on the outside nothing will be okay. Yeah. So adding to that, when you talked about postpartum, I feel like that also leads into our culture as women because we are taught to put on so much on ourselves and live with yes and leave nothing. Make sure that we are taking on all the responsibility that there has to be taken, and then at the end of the day, you have nothing left for yourself. Yeah. So my question now is: are there some cultural practices in Zambia that you feel like we need to change immediately for there to be progress for women?
Sorry, come again?
Yes, I'm saying, adding to that, do you feel that there are any cultural practices at the moment that we need to change so that women can progress in Zambia?
Well, of course, we need to really get on board, especially when it comes to urban development.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know we are so strong about trying to develop someone who's far from the CBD, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then if the CBD is not in a good state, it's very difficult to also educate and develop the rural areas. Okay, so the first thing we need to start doing now is to make sure that our spaces here, especially in the capital city of Lusaka, we need social groups, we need hustler circles, we need micro loans readily available to women with or without jobs. We need these investment programs to women. I feel like the women in the system must encourage the young women to get on board and learn more about finances, to learn more about marketing and this digital transition. I think the moment we get young women and women in general on board on urban culture development, I feel it's going to be a better society, and it's going to be easy to bring in even those that are far from CBD. So right now, the main change that we need to do is to make sure that the urban culture development is done. The moment we have that sorted out, we'll have women not struggling with finances. We'll have women participating more in politics. We'll have women taking part in sports. We'll have all these things happening because there is an ease to the urban culture development. We are really, really slacking on that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I feel like when it comes to the younger girls, what they say is when they try to put themselves forward and then they try to get in contact with the older women who are already established, they feel like there's pushback from them, like they don't want to help them or empower them. So they feel like, well, what's the point if the older women are the ones who are in the forefront of discouraging us young women? So I want to know your thoughts on that.
Well, I think the young women Okay, I am young, but I think the younger women are not asking the correct questions. Because if you ask the correct question, you have the correct answer.
I know, right?
So it matters on what they are asking. Are you asking the correct question? Are you asking the correct person? You know, who's listening on the other side? Also, it's very important because you might be asking the right questions at the wrong time to the wrong person. So it's very important that young women ask the correct questions. I can't go and ask Mzinga Melu about fashion.
Yeah. Yeah, I get
Okay,
that.
I can't go and ask her about fashion because that's not her industry. It's a correct question, quite all right. I want to change my style. I want to brand myself in a certain way, but that's not her industry. Her industry is finance. Her industry is mathematics, pro max. You get what I mean? So you have to be in line with what the person is about. Then you can ask the correct questions. So I feel like the young people are not asking the correct questions, and then there's a need for fast money. So the process to learn is not as short as they expect it to be. So they need patience, they need time to learn and to adapt and to get to where the person is that they're willing to learn from. But most of the times, younger people, they're not willing to learn.
Okay. So from that, when you mentioned Mzingamelu, I would like you to give us a Zambian woman that you think everyone should be following and be aspiring to be like.
Sorry?
I'm saying, in line with what you said about Mzingamelu, I'd like you to mention one Zambian woman that you think we should keep an eye on, someone who's doing something inspirational.
Well, apart from Muzinga,
It can be someone younger even.
who else?
Yeah.
Right? The problem is that apart from Muzinga, I think Yapa. Yapa is also really good. Yapa is also really good. And my mother Dora, Dora Celia.
Yes.
Yeah, I like her. The zeal is great, you know. And being a young woman who really wants to dive into politics with everything I've got, I feel my mother Dora. She's someone that I really look at and I say, wow, she made it in corner office for a very long time. She would be someone to learn from. Yeah.
Okay, and then what message then would you have for the younger girls who want to join politics but they don't even know where to start from?
Okay, that's a very good question. Look at me brightening up now.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, younger women or young women in politics is a broad conversation because it requires you to be extremely loud, louder than usual, and you have to be very very bold. You have to be bold to a sense that you have to identify when you are likely to be used as a political tool and when you are being put to use for a common cause. So I advise a lot of young women usually that come to me and say, "Oh, but you're young and you're an aspiring candidate now. How did you get here?" Attend events. Attend events. Learn. Okay? Attend events. Learn. Network with the right people. Get in the right channel. Walk into the right room. Ask the correct questions and get the correct contacts. Um, it's very disclaimer.
Yeah.
Not everyone, but then when a lot of young women try to do politics, they might be, they might appear to be. What's the word? You know how they look at us, right?
Yes, I do. Yes.
like they want to give you they'll give you something that is not there. Young women have to be very careful also. They'll give you something that is not there. They'll sell you a dream only to get something from you. It could be your brain, it could be your body, it could be your time. So you need to identify why you are in a particular room, what you are doing there, and who you are with in that particular room. Well, another thing that can help you to get here, identify what political party you like of your choice. Don't quit sending membership fees, membership applications. Keep sending, keep sending. I started sending my application letters, I think, in 2020.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And only to be picked by Democratic Union of Zambia a couple of months ago.
Oh, wow.
And it was such a joy. It was really such a joy. You know, today when my friends hear, oh, she's now officially honorable, and they look at me, they're like, what happened to you?
Yeah.
You know, and be as loud as you can be, walk into the room. You know, when you walk into a room and you speak out, lift your chest up, you speak out, they'll listen. They'll listen, and those interested will definitely come after you. And I feel like that's all that there is. You don't have to sleep with anyone. You don't have to entice anyone. You don't have to send nudes to anyone. You just have to use your brain, speak out, make as much noise you want in the correct places, and you definitely get there. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the message that you've given to the young girls. So, with that, I would like to get your closing thoughts as we end. I want you to specifically give it to young ladies who are, let's say, fresh from university, those ones who are getting now really into society. Yeah, your final thoughts.
Well, find Jesus Christ first of all. When you find God, actually, my best friend is a pastor,
Oh.
so yeah,
Yeah.
we are on the right path.
Yes.
So find God. When you find God, everything is easy. You know, even the direction, even when the guidance is different, and make sure that, like I said, when you have an idea of who you wish to be, you always find yourself in where you need to be at a particular time. So, self awareness. I'm really sending a message of self awareness. Take care of your mind, most importantly. Look good, and wear your natural hair. It's very important.
Yes,
Also,
it is.
it brings out your confidence, and one cannot miss good confidence. Confidence confidence speaks louder than numbers,
Yeah, it does.
you know. And be very careful around people you don't know. I think that's the message I would like to send. Know God, be self-aware, and make sure that you just take care of your mind.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for being here, and we can't wait to have you
Thank
next
you.
time.
Can't wait to be here again.